And you're now listening to TLKinfamous.
What's up? Welcome back to TLKinfamous. It's been a while since we've been here. Boy Saint and Social Lee in the building.
Hey y'all.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, so I guess we're just gonna check in. So I know you went on your trip you went to LA and you went to Jamaica, right?
Yeah, I was moving. I was outside my meat.
I mean, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you.
What was the experience like? Which one did you prefer? Did you like them both?
So my sister invited me to Cali. Okay, so shout out to sis.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was like a work trip. So I was like, wow, like this is how a work trip feels like. So I kept it cute. But it was nice. I was networking. They had like a lot of things for us to do.
Yeah.
And they had like a little ceremony just to like appreciate all of us. And that that was a quick trip. I never been to Cali, so that was cool. And we had went to San Diego, and I'm here thinking, okay, I could be sun out. Buns out. Not the buns out, but
right.
I thought it was gonna be
show
hot.
Some skin.
Right, some skin. And it was cold. So even me trying to wear a long beach dress, my arms was cold, my legs was cold. So that was the little annoying part. And then literally, so it's my birthday week on I'm not gonna say the date.
Yeah.
But it was my birthday week, tourist gang. And literally I came back from Cali, came home to New York, chilled, and then literally went to Jamaica on Friday.
Catching flights.
Right, catching flights. I was like, oh, this is how I feel.
Did you feel a little overwhelmed or it was cool?
No, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I think I was fine. Like, honestly, like I'm pretty used to like moving like that. Yeah. Jamaica was fire.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I went. Honestly, it was a last minute trip and it was just so many changes. I had just got promoted, and so I didn't know when would be the next time that I'll be able to go out the country.
Right,
and then to Jamaica, of course, there's different ways to expense certain stuff, but travel outside the country is just not cheap. It ain't like a trip to Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
$275. I just think that like we have to. When you have the chance and the opportunity to do something, I think we should jump on and do it because. Life is fleeting. It's in just a quick moment. It could be 10 years, 15 years from now. So I just want to take advantage of it, and I'm happy I did. I met some cool people when I was out there. I went to some cool clubs, and let me tell you about the bottle experience. So we went to the club, and they was lit. They were playing the music. And the group that I went with was like, oh yeah, let's get a bottle. And I'm like, I'm like, whatever. Like, all right, we get a bottle.
Yeah.
I don't, the reason I say it like that is because partying in the U.S., when you get a bottle in the club, it's like 400, 300 plus.
Never.
And then you paying 300 plus, and you. And
so you was feeling okay that night. You was like, fuck it. That was your mood.
Right. I was like, because it was like, it was I think 8 of us or 10 of us. So I'm like, all right, possibly $50 per person. I'm like, that's not bad. That's not bad. But the reason I have problems with getting bottles in the club in the U.S. is that you get a whole bottle, and the bottle go around for you get a cup.
Yeah.
You just spend $50 for one cup.
Right. Yo,
just for one shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's
crazy. Yeah.
I have an issue with. But when we went to Jamaica and we got the bottle, we was like, yeah, let's get some Casamigos. He was like 75, something like that. I'm like 75. Wow. I'm like, you sure not 750?
Yeah.
And it was like $75. I'm like, oh, okay.
You get a couple bottles.
Right. I was like, let's get another one. So I was like, oh, I really like that.
I didn't know that.
They don't violate when you in the club. So it was definitely worth it. The drinks was good.
Yeah, I see. I didn't know that because when we went to a club one night and we just ended up buying drinks, we didn't do like any bottle service and stuff like that. And then the other time I went to DR, we stood on the resort, so all inclusive. Yeah. But it's good to know, like, if you go to like a bar
outside the resort, it's not going to be so bad. And on top of that, the liquor prices outside the country is just cheaper in general. You know.
Yeah.
You get that white Henny for like what $69 or $70, but you get over here it'd be like $150 if they even have it, because
Yeah, I would definitely, like, if I'm doing a resort again, I would definitely buy me a bottle before getting on the resort, because those shits be watered down.
Yeah, what's so crazy too, because before I even got to the resort, like you said, the drinks is trash.
Yeah,
at the
did
resort.
you have bottles in your room? They gave you bottles in your room?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
They gave me water bottle.
Oh, they gave us like 3-4 bottles in our room.
Really?
All those shits was watered down. I could have sworn. At least that's how I felt.
Oh no, you felt real. You felt the truth.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I was like, yeah.
But yeah, so I forgot where I was going with that. But I just know that the drinks was watered down, in the resort, and literally before I left the airport, before when we was going there, I seen the freaking the liquor, and I was like, oh, should we get a bottle? I'm like, nah, we just gonna see when we get there. And
we did the same exact thing.
Yeah,
the bottles was all there. They was all mad big, mad inexpensive. But we like, nah, we got the resort. Then we got there. We was like, damn, we should have got a bottle.
Yeah, so this is y'all wanted.
Yes,
get the bottle.
When you, even if you go into a resort, get the bottle.
Get the bottle. You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So what you did this week? Because I want to know.
Yeah. So this week actually went to go. I didn't do much, but work and stay home. But I actually took my sister to go see Little Mermaid.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
How was the Little Mermaid?
I mean, I had to take some time to kind of like calm myself down because I feel like I'm a little bit I'm a critical thinker and a deep thinker. And sometimes, I find it sometimes I had to learn how to like just sit down and just enjoy things for what it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can't help myself. So I went to go see it with my sister, and I would say first I want to say, I'm definitely proud of Halle. I think it's such a monumental moment for, black female, black artists, black female actors, people who are in her age range and people who follow up behind her.
Yeah.
Like I said, like that's like a major move, like, a Disney movie. And like I was telling you before, it's huge. Like, just when you're on a cereal box, that's like a whole nother type of like fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now you're. I
didn't even know she was on a cereal box.
Yeah, she's on a cereal box. I forgot what cereal, but she was what type of cereal, but they had her on the cereal. But you know how they do like the special features?
Yeah.
So yeah, she's on like what's the thing? Shampoo bottles. Camellia Rose. She's on like a whole bunch of stuff. They marketing and everything. So she's like widespread, and I think that's like a really cool thing. But for the movie, for me, I felt like I said it like I felt like they were trying to give inclusion, but it gave confusion. And I spoke to a couple people about it, and they said it like it's a fantasy. You it's not that deep. But for me, I feel like fantasies are still very important. And impressionable stories, especially for little kids.
Right.
So I just felt like, especially because, and also I think it was pertaining to, they were also like talking about interracial, they were kind of dealing with a interracial love story. They could have been a little bit more intentional with it. Because like, for example, like her father is a Spanish man, a Spanish white passing man, Spaniard, which is kind of like Latin, which is they're considered white. Am I correct? Spanish. Yeah. 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 Yeah, exactly.
If
right?
you look white, you a white Spaniard.
Yes, a white Spaniard. So yeah. So he's the father, and then he has all these kids from different backgrounds. He has a white daughter, a Asian, an Indian, a black.
I know you lying.
Yeah. So that was that.
How many baby mamas he has?
So he only has one mom. That's at least that's what they let, because they talked about how the mom passed away, and so that you don't see the mom at all. You don't know what she looks like at anything at all.
Oh, so the mom was sleeping around. That's what it sounds like.
Well, he's claiming the kids are all his. So he's the father. We don't know. Again, but like the excuse is it's a fantasy. So he can have all these kids by different races because it's just a fantasy, even if it's just for one woman. So then the father, the prince, he's a white man, but then come to find out, his mom is a black woman. And at first, I was definitely thrown off by that, I think. And it wasn't until end of the movie, she kind of alludes to the fact that he was washed up on the shore. So that's how they got him. But I don't feel like it was clear enough. There was no backstory, or it was very like subtle the way she brought it up. It was like really quickly. So so I guess he got washed up on the shore, and they took him in. And the father, his father is not in the picture at all.
Okay.
So that was kind of it for me. I don't know. It just felt a little weird to me.
See, from a person, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. And like you said, I was like, okay, great. We got a black Little Mermaid. I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm excited for it. But of course, when it comes to like definitely those big featured films, you already know certain things is going to be kind of like, it's going to be a little gray area. Yeah. Of course, like you said, they're going to have a little inclusion. So
I felt like, because my cousin said that, she was like, they also was still trying to like, not to like, cater to the white audience still, because this, you know, in the original, you know, that was a big thing. Oh, Little Mermaid's black. It was a whole ruckus. So in this sense, they still trying to make it more palatable.
Yeah.
As opposed if they had a whole black cast.
Right.
You know what I mean? For like in my mind, that would have probably made sense. Okay, you made the main character black. Why don't you just make everybody else black?
Like they was like, all right, we just gonna make this person black.
Yeah, and then we're gonna make, you know, the prince white, and then the father a Spaniard, and then the Ursula is a white woman, and then his stepmom, but the prince mom, who's not really his mom, is black. It was just like.
It was too much going on.
Yeah.
Them trying to do too much themes, and it, like you said, you feel like it wasn't intentional. It sounds like it wasn't intentional.
But I guess I also tried to remember that I guess this is not for me. I'm not a kid, so that's the excuse. You know, it's not really. It's not really catered to me. It's fancy. Kids may not see this and think the same
about
thing.
that. That's true.
So at first I was really like on my woke shit, like my Dr. Umar shit. But then I just had to like sit down, just like, you know what, it's not that deep. Even though for me, I do feel like to the extent, you know.
I feel like it can be deep, and I feel like it's a Disney movie. This is like the first reality of like real people doing a Disney film. It's not animated.
Yeah,
so
live action, yeah. I
think that for us to critique it, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's not okay to take away from Chloe's achievements, because we still feel like what she had the ability and opportunity to do was still amazing. And I love that for her. But in just terms of the entire movie itself, I just feel like Disney producers and writers can do so much better.
What I found is like the producers, the writers, and the director were all white.
Oh, white. Okay.
So I wonder if, you know, if they had more diversity in the whatchamacallit, how would they be able to kind of navigate the story? You know what I mean? And I think my other thing is I also curious if
because the cast is so diverse, why not make the producers and the everybody else diverse too? Because then you have different inputs. My colleague was telling me that he went to see it, and he pretty much said the same thing. Like it looks like they was trying to like include everything. Yeah. And he's a white Latino, and so coming from him, he's not black. But for him to say he felt like they were just trying to add everything else in there, he just felt like it was a little unnecessary. Also, he did point out, he said he would have loved to see Monique play Ursula, and I didn't think about that until just now. And I'm like, oh shoot, she would have killed that role.
Yeah, she would have. They did, but you know, Monique was in that controversy, and you know, Hollywood wasn't really feeling her. So
let alone in a Disney movie, right?
I feel like she would have definitely did better because Melissa McCarthy, she did a cute job, but I feel like Ursula is such a strong character. Yeah. I feel like I wanted more out of her.
I'm more a little aggressive. Yeah, a little bit. You know, what's that movie called? Precious. We need to insert that clip. Come on, imagine that clip, but as Ursula.
This is some more pressure in the role.
Ursula was always smoking. You know, Monique and Precious, she had a cigarette. But you won't, let me take your voice, Little Mermaid.
I'm dead.
Listen, she would have killed that role.
No, she definitely would have killed it. She definitely would have killed it. I think that's another thing too. Like if they had a little bit more of the main characters, be black or something like that, I felt a little more satisfied. I don't know.
I feel like it would have gave what it was supposed to give. Yeah, because I think what you said when we was looking, we was great. We was like, okay, we got this black person. Yeah. And we was hoping that type of like vibrant energy would come out in the actual movie. And we felt like it was kind of toned down. Like, not saying that there's a particular type of energy for black people, but it's just like we gravitate to this particular casting, So we was hoping to see a little bit.
I think for me, it goes back to like the main point is like going back to like this is why we need to just be more. This is why the thing will come when it comes to like remakes and stuff like that. It could be a little. I'm not a big fan of remakes. I am going to see the Color Purple remake, but I feel like when it comes to remakes, this is why it's so important for Hollywood to produce original content, especially for black creators to produce original content. So that way we can have a Disney buzz type movie, fantasy movie, just as, big as The Little Mermaid. We don't have to remake it and cast a black person. Because at first I didn't get the whole thing about the Black Mermaid thing. Well, I kind of did, but also I was rooting for the black, she deserves it. Yeah. But then when the casting came about, I was like, oh, they kind of made no sense to me because it was like she was the only
black person there.
So I understand like the marketing reason because they want to make sure it's still people who watch, they still feel like
they can be a Disney star too, you know?
And they can be a part of it. But I feel like this is the main point for us to need to have and create our own stories and original content.
I think that's such a great point, because I feel like even just with the women movement, like they came out for Ghostbusters too, and they made it an all feminine cast. I don't even think that was necessary. I just feel like, great, you want to do.
Or like She-Hulk.
I just feel like a lot of these remakes is unnecessary. And then, okay, great, we're gonna do a remake, but now we're just gonna make a woman do it. Why not just make a whole different storyline and have that woman captivate the storyline? It doesn't have to be a female version, because I feel like what it is like, okay, this is just a female version. This is just a black version. We don't need to have a black version, white version. Yeah. This is what the Little Mermaid is. This is what you're gonna get. This is what Ghostbusters is. Yeah. This is what you're gonna get. And I just feel like, because everybody's trying to be,
I think it's about money. I feel like the gatekeepers know like it's a safe option to like take these movies and they know like they know the structure, they know the story. They like to feed off nostalgia, and they try to apply it to current times. I
think that definitely the money, but I also think it's about them just trying to like, you know, stay safe in terms of backlash or whatever. Like, okay, like even. I want to say like they want to include everything because they just don't want nobody to say anything. So like you'll see, let's just bring it to like clothing brands. You'll see a clothing brand that has nothing to do with anything, but then you'll see a pride flag.
Oh yeah.
Like I understand you trying to represent for all different type of groups and stuff, right. But it has to make sense with the brand.
Authentic.
Yeah, and it has to make sense. We just can't have the gay parade flag
everywhere
just cause. You know, just because you don't want people to think.
And then when pride is over, is like we're going back to being homophobic,
right?
Or not caring about the community as much.
Exactly. Exactly not caring.
I feel like it's better, like, you know, when you said when companies or brands stuff like that, they making genuine relationships that's going to last a long time, not just for the moment.
Oh, before I know, listen, I want to veer off topic, but look at Target. Look at Target. They then came off a whole clothing line. We're gonna throw up the image, but there was a T-shirt that they made for kids. They losing like almost $17 billion just in 2 weeks.
Wow!
Because
this is recent.
This was like this month. Target displayed some clothes for kids. And it said, we're trans, like the little T-shirt that said, we're trans, we're here, we ain't going nowhere. Which, okay, great. We don't think you're going anywhere. But was it necessary to have that labeled on a shirt?
Was it for kids?
Yeah, it was a kid T-shirt. So that's why so many people it was just off-putting. And it's like, okay, listen, you can show support for something. Make it make sense to the brand. You just don't need to throw it in people's face just because you want to show that you're a part of that community. That's great.
That's too, and I feel like also when they do that, when people kind of like, they always have to fill the name to like label something and put it out there. You make it more of an issue. Let's let people be. You know what I mean? If you want to have a trans line, I don't know. You could find other ways to do that, but you don't have to like label it like broadly for people to see. Especially for like kids. Like I don't feel like that's necessary.
Yeah. I just think that it's just all about like just wanting to be seen. Which we get it, and I think we just leave it at that.
I don't know, but I think also another thing is too. I feel like a lot of these decisions, because I've been in like creative agencies as far as marketing and creative advertisement. And when you go into a lot of these agencies, they're always talking about diversity and inclusion, but the staff is far from diverse and far from inclusive. So even if you have, you know, someone who is in the LGBT community, there's probably still gonna be
toned down or white.
And I feel like, and somebody who's in the LGBT who's white, their experience is different from someone who's black, who's Indian, who's Chinese. It's a different story. So I feel like when these decisions are being made, they're not coming from a
genuine place.
Or a lens that like someone will be like, hey, like listen, this may not be the right thing to do.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's probably what happened in Little Mermaid. Because I know if I was in that boardroom making the decisions, even though it is a kid's story, I feel like they could have brought new life to it and change the story up a little different and handle it more intentionally. Because even with the color purple. So a lot of people were kind of like, damn, we don't need to hear the story again. But people don't. What I like what they're doing with the color purple story is like they're making it a remake of the musical, which is like the original story. And even like seeing the trailer, it seemed like it has a more of a more optimistic or more hopeful approach,
Yeah.
as opposed to the other one that just went back to like oppression. I think this one's telling like more full-rounded
You know
story.
what? That's so true. Thinking about it, that is
Yeah.
true. But I feel like musicals are just always,
That's
happy.
true. Yeah, because imagine a depressing musical.
Look at Sweetie Todd. People was getting their necks cut off and they was singing la 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 la.
What is that?
That's that they had a musical on 42nd Street with Sweetie Todd, and it was about this barber that used to kill people. Something like that. Haven't seen it in years, but he used to kill people in a barber chair, and then he used to open up a little thing on the bottom where they go in the basement, and then I don't know what he used to do with the bodies, but they used to be singing.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, so to bring it back,
Yes.
you know who I think really did a good job with, you want to have a black person, and great, The Princess and the Frog. The Princess and the Frog, I feel like the animated movie was so good because, it talked about New Orleans, the black experience, and it was animated, so we kind of really got to really be in it. It wasn't just us watching it.
You know what's crazy? Remember you told me about the origin of the story? I thought like originally the person, she wasn't initially black, right?
I don't know. Can we? Can
I look up the origin? It's like it was just like the characters in the books were like white. So I was kind of trying.
You did?
Yeah.
And they're white?
Yeah. And so I was kind of confused about what was the hoopla about Little Mermaid being
black.
But I guess being that the Princess and the Frog never had an original movie. Whereas Ariel had an original movie, which was a white Ariel. Does that make sense?
It was a white Ariel. And also, too, Disney is not stupid. They spend millions just on advertising alone. Like, they spend millions on pushing these trailers out to these different theaters alone. So you don't think they're going to spend another million just to hype up the blogs to make it seem like, oh, it's a black person? Because even bad media is good media.
Yeah.
You make it seem like, oh, this was all this controversy about this Black Mermaid. But what if that's not real controversy? What if that's just Disney hyping it up? So this way people could come see the movie and okay, let's see who this Black Mermaid is. When honestly, who knows? Most of the world could have been supportive of this Black Little Mermaid.
Because we know how the media works and how PR companies works. There is they definitely, these people definitely fund money to sensationalize stuff like that. So like something like the Black Mermaid being something it could have been like the general public probably didn't give a fuck, but they use these channels and these media to these outlets to kind of focus on the negative just to give it its
little
to get people all like riled up and stuff like that. And so I definitely believe that's true.
And they did a good job because I heard they broke the box office. I think they did 170. Listen, 170 either million or billion. Yeah. In the first week. Yeah. I think maybe
it broke record for the Memorial Day. Like it was in like the top 4 or 5 openings for Memorial Day of all times.
So besides the exclusion and confusion, did you like the way they did the storyline? Without spoiling it, because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, the storyline is original to the initial thing. So,
did they keep all the characters? Because I know in Mulan, they did. I didn't see the real life Mulan, which I wanted to see, but I was like, whatever. They didn't have Mushu, which was important. This was Mulan because Mushu was the person that was with Mulan throughout the whole experience, and they took that character away. Did they do that for the Little Mermaid?
So they kept like the fish, the crab. I don't remember there being a pelican, but there was a pelican.
Oh yeah.
So those are 3 little musketeers. They were all there throughout the movie.
Before I cut you off, and I didn't see a Little Mermaid. I just felt like the Little Mermaid, watching it before I even watched. I didn't watch the new movie. But thinking about the Little Mermaid, when you say taking about somebody's voice, and the animation when you see the little thing coming out her voice, that was just so creepy because it reminded me of like taking away somebody's soul. So I feel like they could have did so much with it, but I haven't seen it yet. So let me see.
There was so much underlining things that they could have played with and gave it more depth. Because I feel like being that it is a remake, even though they are catering to kids, you're also catering to adults who also want to see the movies. So I feel like there's a way to give it like more of a nuance and more of a depth. And they talked about a lot of things where, especially if you are into like African spirituality, you'll know about like certain like gods or water gods and stuff like that. So they have like in African spirituality, they have Oshun and Yeba.
Is this with the Orishas?
The Orishas. Or even if you think about Greek mythology, there's different type of, gods and stuff like that. So she kind of talks about that at some point because, in the movie he gets washed, he gets he gets off the ship and he falls off the ship, and that's how she saves him. So the mom was like, I'm not having you go back on the sea because we're at war with the water gods. Yeah, and then also the father doesn't want her to go up there because the humans had killed her mom. So, and they also because the humans are on sea now, and they're also like, corrupting the ocean. Okay. So it was a lot of like there was a spiritual element to it, like the life above and the life under. And if you ask me, I believe it's life under.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? Because Avatar is catered to kids.
Yeah.
But it also, it's so in depth that adults can enjoy it too.
Yeah. But I don't feel like Avatar's catered to kids.
What happened?
I don't feel like Avatar's catered to kids. I feel like it's kids can watch it, but I feel like they have more of a teen to and above.
Yeah. I mean, it was
but
true.
kids can watch it.
It was a whole lot of gun violence in that movie. That's true.
But I feel like, this is like a kid's story. But I think that they could have played with that, like that whole spiritual element, because I feel like that was cool. I would love to now after watching the movie, I would love to have movies that kind of explore that the Orishas and the water gods. And that's what I walked away with. Like, it made me more interested in like learning this story, because I'm a water sign too. So if you ask me, I believe in those Caribbean stories about mermaids and shit like that. Do they look the way that we think they do? Maybe, maybe not. Because even though if you think about so you talk about and going back to like African spirituality, they have if you study Yoruba, they talk about how one of the stories is that when the slaves were thrown off the ship.
This is not with the Little Mermaid. This is one of the story with Yoruba. Okay.
Yeah, this is like African spirituality. Okay. When the slaves were thrown off the ship, they were reincarnated into mermaids. That was kind of like the idea too. If you study like African, spirituality. That
definitely makes me want to go to the Little Mermaid.
Well, you ain't gonna get that from Little Mermaid. I'm just saying, like, those are the things I was kind of like thinking about more in depth as a critical thinker, deep thinker. And knowing this stuff prior, so you can pick up on those.
With this conversation, it makes me yearn for, how they post on TikTok and Instagram or even YouTube, where they be like, all right, we about to spoil your childhood, and they'll bring up like these little TV shows and these movies that's animated, but then they'll bring up like some real conversation,
deep history about this is what it was,
right?
Yeah,
like that's what they need to do.
But you know what? Because even with I heard that they're gonna do another Cinderella remake again. They just did one with this girl Camila Cabello, which I didn't watch. Yeah,
when was this?
That's the point.
Too many Cinderellas.
So I'm not really I wasn't like drawn to watch it, but they said they're gonna do one with a dark twist, which is going to be more darker, grittier, what you call it. So I mean, they probably gonna do another fucking Mermaid, because they love to do remakes.
Yeah, Little Mermaid 2, right, with the kid.
Well, they could probably do a Mermaid 2. I think they could, like the way they ended off. It could be a possibility for another one.
Alright, so y'all gotta watch it and see what y'all think. This is an open dialogue. Yeah. This movie just came out, last week?
Yeah.
So we may revisit this conversation based on the comments and feedback. I still have to watch the movie.
Yeah. Ultimately, we're proud of Halle,
Yes.
So definitely want to give you your flowers. She's looked beautiful.
And I feel like she sounded amazing. Voice. You know what's so crazy? I think that they casted her well on her voice. They did. The Little Mermaid in the animation.
Her voice, I didn't like the voice.
In the Little Mermaid, but it was a little angelic. That's how she came up. I'm not going to try it. But Chloe Bailey, her voice is angelic to me too.
Halle.
Oh Lord, Halle. Halle, her voice is angelic to me, so I see why they casted her.
She definitely is a Disney princess. She captured the essence.
Even when I was watching her interview, she's just so like
regal,
so very Disney, and I'm like, is this her in real life?
Yeah, she reminded me of Janet. Like her essence is like very sensual, very sweet. But she dating a rapper, so she got a side to her.
I heard they broke up.
No, they back together.
They back together.
Yeah, But shout out to her. Shout out. So based on that, I really want to know what you guys think. For people that watched it, try not to spoil it in the comments. If you do, you do. Spoiler alert for the people that's going to read the comments. Yes.
I really want to know what you guys think. Are we overthinking it? Are we thinking too less of it? It was big. I've been feeling for a Little Mermaid movie. Like mermaids in general, those like the mermaid ecosystem
Yeah.
is just so
Because we're exploring under the sea, like life under there.
And I seen so many movies. You ever seen Harry Potter? You see Harry Potter when they had the mermaids in there and in the Goblet of Fire, and the mermaids look evil. Then you had H2O, that little stupid Nickelodeon TV show.
That was my show. I was mad when they canceled that shit.
And they got turned by the moon.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they did cancel it.
Yeah, they canceled. I was so tight because that was my shit. I was in that shit heavy. Because also you got to understand the world's made up 80% of water.
80%. Yes, 75%.
And then also they said there's only like a small percentage of the earth of the water that we've discovered, like that we know of.
Yeah.
So not only is it 80%, but I'm talking about like the level that we know of is only like I think they said like 5%.
Pretty much.
So it's a whole world down there, like sea animals and stuff that we have yet even to see or experience. So I definitely would love to see more stories, and whether they're mythical, spiritual stories that explore that world.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a population that's feeding for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you. We did take a little break, but tune in. We're gonna have episodes, coming soon again.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. And just the takeaways, go watch Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Let me know what y'all think.
Signing out.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way you could be notified every time we drop an episode. Also, for the newcomers, we have all the episodes that we did. Even audio episodes on what's that thing called?
On
the
Apple,
audio. We have
Apple, Spotify.
All audio episodes. So you can go back to season 1 and actually listen to some of the content that we put out if you missed any of them. But thank you again. Signing out socially.
Saint.
Peace.
Peace.